Today isn't about the USL's record-setting attendance. It's about a league rising, opportunities seized, soccer blossoming, goals scored, and jaws dropped. It's the pride, the Bailey, the intersection of belief and intimidation. No, tonight's not about 1 million fans. It's about the 12. Welcome to the USL Game of the Week, just outside downtown Cincinnati. One of the gems of North American soccer is Nippert Stadium tonight. Another near-capacity crowd as FC Cincinnati fans march in, part of the Queen Cities Cup, taking on the Charlotte Independents. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, and FC Cincinnati has the Pittsburgh Riverhounds nipping at their heels, 4 points back, 2 games in hand, while Charlotte Independents just 2 points away from missing the playoffs at this midseason point. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our booth alongside Devin Kerr. Mike Watts with you. We're excited to bring this one to you. FC Cincinnati, talk about attendance till we're blue in the face. But Alan Koch was tasked with getting more than the sum of the parts of this extraordinary roster. They've done that.
Well, the philosophy that he's brought to this squad has been absolutely amazing, and he'll tell you that the personnel buying into what this organization believes in has given them the opportunity to go forward and remain atop the Eastern Conference. But let's not forget, the reason they're there, outside of their offensive capability, has been their ability on the defensive side of the ball to get things done. Unfortunately, on the other side of the ball, Charlotte, they're trailing only 1 win in their last 8 games. But the good news for them is they're still sitting right on the edge of that playoff picture, and there's pretty much one main reason for that. We'll talk about someone else in a second, but the main man who stepped up in, guess who? Father Time, Jorge Herrera. This guy just knows how to get it done. I mean, it is amazing. His recovery techniques, his childhood antics at home, his head coach Mike Jeffries telling us that, look, sometimes the runaround he gets off the pitch is worse than what he gets on the training ground. But regardless, the effect that he has on a match each and every 90 minutes is unfounded from what anything that you've seen before. And the supporting cast that Jeffries has brought him has helped him remain kind of relevant as well.
32 goals, that's most in Independence history. On the other side, FC Cincinnati, 37 goals this year, and a lot of them real peaches.
Well, the biggest thing for Cincinnati and their ability to get forward so often has been each and every player. It's not just one name. It's not Koenig. It's not Ledesma. It's not a single person. It's the ability of 3, 4, 5 guys to make their impact on a match. And look, you see it all over the pitch. Again, defensively, much more compact, but the chemistry going forward and their ability to explode comes from those 3 guys right there.
25 goals between them. Ledesma will start. He's certainly an MVP candidate in the USL in his first season with the group, but Koenig and Al-Badawi set to come off the bench. Well, FC Cincinnati will have a rabid crowd behind them. 7 consecutive home games coming up as they sit in first place. For Charlotte, not so simple. The most challenging stretch of their season now under the brightest lights. Charlotte, Cincinnati, Queen Cities Cup coming up next. 18,000 season ticket holders for FC Cincinnati. They had to stop selling season tickets. It's FCC and Charlotte Independence in the USL Game of the Week. This will be another record setter. The USL has reached now 1.5 million fans, 5 weeks earlier than they did last year. We expect nearly 25,000 plus today. Here's the Charlotte Independence starting lineup, Devin.
Fortunately enough for Mike Jeffries, and the first time in a lot of weeks we've been able to see someone of a regularity in a lineup that he's put out onto the pitch, dealing with a lot of suspensions and injuries. So that bug has really bitten them, but I'll tell you what, he's got his big boys tonight, and they're going to have their hands full. Keep an eye on the outside backs, Donnie Smith and Javon Watson. Smith coming back from injury as well as suspension. Watson moving out from the middle of the field to help out in the back line.
And they can't wait to have this guy back in the lineup. Jan Akro will be starting as one of the attacking players for a group that's just now getting healthy. For FC Cincinnati, this could shake out a lot of ways. It could be a 4-4-2 diamond. Could look like this.
Except for two changes, it's business as usual for Alan Koch. And here's the biggest thing. Listen to this statistic. Ledesma, Koenig, Abadoui. 15 goals. Excuse me, more goals than 15 clubs this year. I mean, that is a ridiculous number. Those guys have marked in all but 3 games. So just those guys going forward, they're big news, big numbers. But again, the outside backs for Charlotte against the offensive boys moving forward for FC Cincinnati is where the game is going to be won or lost.
Well, we talked about FC Cincinnati's defense earlier. Evan Newton has been tremendous coming in after Mitch Hildebrandt moved on over the offseason. And Devin, it's the same back four that starts here again tonight. They're glad to have some continuity with that group. Defensively, they've been fantastic.
They're amazing. I mean, starting off the year, we knew, again, what they were going to bring on the offensive side of the ball, but the likes, smartness, by the way, on Alan Koch going out, getting Forrest Lasso and bringing him over from the battery. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Big, tall center back that likes to get up, go offensively, but knows where his place is, throws his body around, and is really the leader of that back line.
It's the blue and orange of FC Cincinnati, the white for Charlotte Independence. Big game in the Eastern Conference. FC Cincinnati playing in front of another national crowd, another record-setting crowd at Nippert Stadium, set to take on the Charlotte Independence in the USL Game of the Week. As the ball comes back to Declan Kainan and Forrest Lasso. We've seen quite the turn in the center backs over this past offseason. Chase on for Corbin Bone. Lungi drives it away off of Cordell Cato. Back by Laoud. Chance for Kenny Walker. Slice this across for Jimmy McLaughlin. A couple of the FC Cincinnati originals started with the club under John Harkes.
Interestingly enough, they've actually moved Jimmy out onto the right side of the pitch. We've known him for his ability to get up and down the channels on the left, but Alan Koch deciding that he likes the matchup, and that's going to be a hard one because you've got Donnie Smith. I mentioned the outside left back. He's coming back in, so they're going to attack there, but then you got Manu Ledesma on the other side.
Back pass intercepted. Emery Welshman being ridden by Donnie Smith. Vacated a bit of space. McLaughlin. Hoyt plays it forward. Chance to serve this low. And picked up by Andrew Dykstra. Start number 17, Charlotte Independence. Cody Mizell, the starter last year, moving on to Tampa Bay. Early pressure from FC Cincinnati. Lungi. Smith fouled. It's Jorge Herrera. John Freeman blows his whistle for the first time.
Blake Smith not happy with Jorge Herrera there. Herrera stepping in, showing some good sportsmanship, but getting stuck in early on in this match, setting the tempo.
A bit of gumption there in that extracurricular.
And you can't be mad at him. He's just onto the field, wants to make some friends. That's kind of nice. A little neighborly love, introducing himself, borrow some sugar.
So Kenny Walker will put it back in play. Laoud cross field, the former Arsenal man, Justin Hoyt. Devin, for FC Cincinnati, this has been full steam ahead the whole way. There has been no lull. Really only Pittsburgh, Cincinnati can make that claim this year.
You can take a look at the Eastern Conference. They've been consistent, and that's an easy word to say, oh yeah, okay, it's great, you go out and you get wins. But look, when you're playing 7-8 games in a month, which they've basically done in May and June, and now they're following up in July, everybody else started to lose form. You know, you saw Indy 11 step up. They had a terrible month of May, but from them caught pace a little bit. But the Battery, Lou City, obviously we talked about Charlotte Independence. All of these squads have started to falter, and that's why you've seen Pittsburgh nipping on the heels a little bit of FC Cincinnati, but the two of them slowly distancing themselves in the Eastern Conference. And again, the talent level so high here, but at the same point in time, you take a look and it's pretty easy to go, yeah, those two, they're going to the playoffs, not a problem.
Cordell Cato looking to toss this in. Vaughn Watson, he's got a decorated MLS career. That's wide, Kevon George. George on it again. Well, it's a patient start from Charlotte. It's a group that admitted with all the injuries, they've had to play a little deeper than usual, find a new style, and yet they're still one of the top 4 goal-scoring teams in the Eastern Conference.
It's crazy to think you lose a player like Enzo Martinez to the Colorado Rapids, and Mike Jeffries tells us that this squad is more explosive in transition. So that's their ability to go out, do the right scouting, and pick up the right pieces. Cordell Cato, the guy can fly flat out. He runs by every single person, but his ability on the technical side of the ball has given them the opportunity to free up the likes of Jorge Herrera, Jan Ecker when he's been healthy. And then an interesting addition recently that's become more of a mainstay from a starting role has been Jake Arman. His ability to step into that role. Alex Martinez not necessarily having the greatest of years, dealing with some suspension as well as injury, but Arman has stepped in and fulfilled that piece nicely.
Just his 3rd start of the season, playing on the far side of your screen. Start off tonight. Accra coming off those 3 missed games due to injury, and lost it to touch. Ledesma, MVP candidate if there is one at this stage. May have been thinking McLaughlin, but it's Hoyt. Hoyt on those Arsenal teams. Van Persie, Henry, Walcott, Fabregas. Here's Hoyt now. The run-up. It's off of Kalungi, out for a corner.
It's an excellent look at the composition I talked about going forward from FC Cincinnati. Solid combination play down on the right channel. McLaughlin and Justin Hoyt combining to try and break things down. And again, it's smart. They're going at the left side. And the new addition of Donnie Smith coming back. Even when you're a seasoned vet such as he is, still a little rusty coming off the bench.
Tight quarters for Andrew Dykstra here. John Freeman will have the word. Catawampus in front of the net. Ledesma in swinger, off the post and in. Dekel Kainan, the last touch. Was it Ledesma who put that in himself? Either way, FC Cincinnati ignites the crowd.
It's sensational stuff from the home squad. What a dream start. A teasing ball whipped in, and that's the big body of Forrest Lasso. I talked about coming up from the back, the center back being used as a pick, but throws his frame up there, gets his head on it. And you can't tell if it crossed the line or not, but smart on the follow-up play as well. FC Cincinnati drawing up something from the training ground, and that little black book of theirs getting out to an early lead.
And as it stands, it's his first goal for FC Cincinnati in a competitive match. Scored 1 in preseason against Sacramento. And FC Cincinnati pulls in front, their 38th goal of the season, their 10th different goal scorer. Dekel Kainan, trialed with Minnesota United last year, comes over from the Israeli League. Who can get crunching tackles for sure, but In that case, right place, right time, and Charlotte has to play from behind. Bilal Duckett.
I understand it's difficult in situations like that, but such a big frame, you can't let him just stand around in front of your goalkeeper. You got to put a body on him. Even if you can't move him off the line, get in front, arm, like anything, just to push him off the ball. Can't let him get a free header.
Cato overcooked it over Hoyt with Jan Ekra on the doorstep. That's a matchup, Devin, they really like on the right-hand side.
You have to. How can you not? See him right away pushing balls in that direction. And now what's the response from the visiting squad? You can see him out of sorts already, and it's smart from Alan Koch. At home, got the Bailey behind you, stepping up into the offensive third, employing that press. That's the comfort zone for the Independents. They like to be methodical in their movements, coming out of the back. They'll bring it slowly up the field and then try and find a way to break you down in the final third. So to take away their comfort zone, it's very intelligent by Alan Koch.
Harmon. Foster helping to lead this up. Ekra. Jan Ekra popping it toward Herrera, and it's grabbed by Evan Newton. Well, that's one way to get the Bailey into the game early. Truly, madly, deeply in love with this team. Bone. 10 minutes gone. Tackle Kanan off a Ledesma corner. A poor clearance. Poor punch from Andrew Dykstra. Cincinnati the advantage. McLaughlin, clever stuff. Foster plays it right back to him. McLaughlin pulls out in front. Lays it off. McLaughlin! Just missed it wide of the post. Ledesma is pointing toward the corner. It's a goal kick, though.
Again, the press causing problems for Charlotte Independents. An untimely turnover in the middle of the field. Foster turned the ball over right here. That little touch, and Jimmy McLaughlin pounces, goes the other direction. The explosiveness, you see it in full effect. A good ball in behind, and just right here, the bounce off the turf. Brings it to the right side. Unfortunately, can't finish it off, but once again, Cincinnati pushing impressive numbers forward.
Watson, that's a heavy touch. Diagonal, intercepted only for a moment. Welshman, there's McLaughlin. Stunning stuff early from Cincinnati. McLaughlin lifting, Ledesma will carry too far. He's under it now. Options galore. Bounces down and cleared by Cato. Forrest Lasso. Dangerous back pass. Kanan's there. Heavy spin. Walker for Cincinnati. Ledesma. Laoud, who starts again in the holding midfield position that Richie Ryan often patrols. Did practice this week. Still out with a lower leg injury.
He's been a nice piece of the puzzle.
You played with him.
Brown, he's impressive. The guy doesn't give the ball away. I mean, it's amazing. It's just glued to his foot. And he's one of those kids coming up that, as he knocks the ball around, everything is just so efficient. There are times where you feel that lane is closing down. You think you've picked his pocket. Sure enough, he's right around you, going the other direction on the counter. So he'll sit in that holding midfielder role, just kind of pull the strings a little bit.
Sweeping it aside. Welshman intercepted it. Smith surrounded by white jerseys. And turned over. This is Arman. That would have been some place to score your first goal. Wouldn't be there. How about the job Evan Newton has done? Because filling in for Mitch Hildebrandt It was a tough gig. Alan Koch was able to write in Sharpie his starting goalkeeper for a long time.
It was an interesting kind of rotating or revolving doors that we saw this year in the USL. The goalkeepers stepping into their new starting roles.
Well, that may have been one pass too many.
Haven't said that many times this year for FC Cincinnati, but we saw so many changing of the guards for the leaders in between the pipes. But like you said, last year, Mitch saying no multiple times, Evan Newton stepping in saying yes, and he hasn't done a poor job whatsoever holding the reins and pushing his team each and every week. Dealt with a little injury earlier on, but was able to pull his way back and has been super consistent ever since.
Ekra helping to overload the left and take it back. Kenny Walker in pursuit, dropping off now. Ekra on the spin. Herrera trying to return. Kainan, excellent sliding challenge. On the long ball over the top. Newton caught out a bit. Harry Welshman giving chase. Martin Dykstra off his line.
You can see the Independents having trouble in the middle of the park. Just moments ago, steps up, and you think they've got an opportunity to exploit a little bit of space, but unfortunately, guys in the middle, Kai Foster, Kavan George, just not really on the same page right now. Foster had made a run down on the left side of the pitch. And as George slowly shifted over, there's a boatload of space, but not enough support for Cordell Cato to play off of. There's three of them in the middle. Ekra getting involved too, so constant communication is going to be the key for the Independents here tonight if they're going to be able to capitalize what FC Cincinnati is going to give them, which isn't going to be a lot.
Watson trying to overlap. Mike Smith lost it, able to stick his heel to it. Heel from Herrera. USL Game of the Week coming to you from Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Should be a midweek USL attendance record tonight from a national audience. 7th minute goal. Declan Kainan, his first regular season goal for Cincinnati. With the home side in front. Von Watson charging in behind. Herrera making a run. This swirl towards the net, just over the crossbar. He caught Newton in no man's land.
Better stuff from the visitors. You can see a good look at Mike Jeffries. The short sleeve button down. Man, guy's got a serious wardrobe. You ever get a chance to pick the brain of Mike Jeffries, I'll tell you what, no, all jokes aside, he's an intelligent footballing mind, and it's always nice to have a chat with him and kind of get an idea of what he thinks of where his squad's at, other squads in the league, and where footballing is in the world today. He's extremely intelligent. Pushes you to the brink of your thought process, I'll tell you that much.
He asked him injuries and suspensions and how have you dealt with it all? He said, ask my wife.
Yeah. That's never a good thing when someone goes to his wife right away about his profession. It was quite funny, but yeah, no, we always joke about how what short sleeve shirt is he going to bust out, and in case anybody wondered, his favorite dessert is gummy candy, more notably Swedish fish.
Ledesma, handled by Bilal Duckett. Another good quotable. Duckett was out for suspension last time out. It ended up being a 1-0 win over Nashville. He said, what was your first thought when you realized he wouldn't be playing in the next game? He said, panic. One of a kind, Mike Jeffries. Smith will knock it back. Michael Laou. So can he unleash Ledesma? Real dogfight for it. Javon Watson goes tumbling over the top. Devin, the story about Ledesma, he's really not on a leash at all. They let him play wherever he wants. He's that kind of player.
No leash, no filter, no nothing. I mean, the guidelines are non-existent for this young man, and you can see it. He floats around the pitch, and look, when a player is in this kind of form, feed him the ball. Let him do his thing, and he goes out and he does it. Seen the goals, seen the assists, highlight reels, everything. And again, just his ability to impose his will on the imposing squads, home or away, each and every game cannot be understated. That's one of the biggest things we haven't talked about with FC Cincinnati this year, is their ability to get the job done on the road.
Compared to last year, remarkable. 4-8-4 last year, 6 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws this year. The Bailey cheer again. Boy, does Dykstra need a good play here after struggling on the previous set piece. And watch Ledesma on the right side of your screen. He's an option. It is Walker. Headed in! It's Forrest Lasso! Both center backs have scored. Exactly how Alan Koch surely drew this up.
Oh, they stack the box again. It's almost like a pick and a basketball play. All 5 guys sitting right in the middle. They run off of each other. Lasso slowly drifting to the back post, and they lose him in space. But look, at the end of the day, it's athleticism. Throws his body in the air, contorts himself to the side, and is able to push his head around the ball to get the second goal. That's good stuff from the center back.
When he signed from Charleston, his agent reached out. Cincy Soccer Talk didn't forget that he shook the crowd after scoring 2 goals with the Battery at Nippert Stadium. This time, much bigger cheer. It's his first goal for FC Cincinnati, and both center backs, Kainan and Lasso, have scored their first Cincinnati goals. Give Cincinnati a 2-goal lead 20 minutes into the match. You can talk about the midfield and how you think a game is going to play out, but I don't think anybody comes into this with that on the chalkboard.
It's definitely not on the chalkboard, but is in the thought process. For me, though, it's not the offensive creativity for FC Cincinnati. It's the lack of ability on Charlotte to understand the threat that is coming back at them again.
Smith unable to clear this. Charlotte. Ledesma sneaks all the way through and past McLaughlin. A run and a slide from Armand to slow down Cincinnati's charge.
You're talking about 2 goals in the span of 13 minutes from eerily similar situations, and both times the Independents failed to recognize the threat coming in their direction. They have to do better there. It goes back to it. I understand they're bigger than you. They're stronger than you. Double team. Push someone into that situation. You move them away from your goalkeeper, and then when the ball comes in, you still possess athletic guys on your side of the ball to go up and win it. Someone's got to step up in that situation.
Armand knocks it wide. He's on the ball again. And 7 winless for the Independents before they knocked off Nashville. And the top teams in the Eastern Conference. They had a little confidence. Surely it's waning now. Steered into midfield by Welshman. Bone with Hoyt racing up the far touchline. McLaughlin returns. Excellent interchange. Corner, Cincinnati.
Now's the time for Mike Jeffries to hit the reset button. And it's awful early to do that, but I'll tell you what, down 2-0 on the road, you got to find a way to get back into this match. We've seen some glimpses from the home squad going forward, most notably in the use of their speed, but they really haven't done a boatload in the middle of the pitch so far. They've dictated play for sure, but Charlotte Independents have the opportunity to do that, but you can't let the likes of Forrest Lasso and Kainan continuously get involved in set-piece situations.
Ledesma, another set piece. That's dutifully handled. Second ball just as dangerous as the first. This time the best laid plans, mice and men, are just that. Watson overcooked that. Lahoud took it away. Well, this is a good striding run from Armand. And this hit from distance by Herrera. Without a deflection. Well, if you're Charlotte, how do you try and grab hold of this game again? You would argue that in the run of play, Cincinnati's had the better of it, but both goals off set pieces. That's not where the problem's been.
I'd walk across the other side of the pitch and ask Alan Koch if he's willing to let some of his players guest play for me. No, I mean, they need to get control in the middle of the field, and I talked about the wings, and that's where the biggest matchups were going to be. And to be fair, that's where we've seen the best looks for FC Cincinnati, but there haven't been a boatload of them. Again, the 2 goals coming off of set pieces, Jimmy McLaughlin getting involved, but on the other side, haven't seen a lot out of Corbin Bone, haven't seen a lot out of Kenny Walker. So their ability to keep those guys at bay has been impressive, but when they're winning the ball, you can see that the movement off the ball from the Independents is stagnant. They're winning it middle to final third, they turn, there's no outlet ball, there's no pass for them whatsoever. They need to be more creative. Look, this is a band of brothers, and you have to work together, especially when you're dealing with 25,000 plus in a setting like this.
After all, after watching his countryman Kevin Anderson reach the Wimbledon final, Alan Koch said, if you want to coach individuals, go coach tennis. Charlotte team now the ones trying to band together, figure this thing out. Javon Watson. Ledesma came up from behind him. Attack still on through Cato. And he's won a corner.
Good look at Alan Koch. He's done well for his squad so far, but a good opportunity for the Independents here. Kai Foster just needs to put something in, let one of the big boys, Javon Watson, run underneath it, get ahead on it. Follow suit of what FC Cincinnati has shown you on their end.
Foster. Skip all the way through off Kalungi.
Not a bad look from the native of Uganda. Gets himself in decent position, and fortunately 6'2", running to the near post, trying to flick it to the far post, being pressured by 2 guys. It's very difficult to do. This night's been quite quiet so far. Evan Newton. We talked about Mike Jeffers in his wardrobe. I've seen some of the stuff Evan Newton's been bringing to town. It's pretty solid. Good selection. Don't look at me like that.
I know how righteous you are on fashion.
I respect it, man, you know?
Yeah. Ledesma did really well to move this upfield. Don't want to give him this much space. Walker. Smith. Smith. That's Donnie Smith. Oh, flick. Ledesma. This will come through. Welshman. Cincinnati far from done. Welshman, heavy tug from Duckett. Will get a yellow card for the trouble.
Unfortunately for Bilal Duckett, the problematic situation actually started just moments ago where They won possession, knocks the long ball in the other direction. No read to do that. Just needed to hold on to it. Then he catches his team, has to track back, throws himself behind the 8 ball, and Scott Ball watching a little bit, gets stuck in a little late. He's going to pick up a yellow card for his actions. And again, you're just gifting opportunities to FC Cincinnati. You work so hard to win the ball back, give it right back to them, and then you give away unnecessary free kicks in the final third. Kenny Walker, Manu Ledesma, all of these guys more than willing to step up to the occasion and have a crack.
Walker will stride away, so will be Ledesma. Kind of player who can sneak this inside the near post, so the wall is 2. Ledesma. Ricochets out the other side. Did it. Freeman pointing for a Charlotte throw. All's well that ends well. Hoyt to throw. Bone. Hoyt. Accra forces Lahoud off the ball. That's where Charlotte can be most dangerous in transition. Cato's running at the bottom of your screen. There's the switch. Away with Accra. Cato. Cato. Shot is on, gets up high, and is deflected away. Jan Accra one-timed that.
It's dangerous ball movement by the Independents. Much more explosive on the offensive side of the ball than we've seen all evening so far. But it was smart. You saw how they pushed down into the final third. They're trying to go with pace and transition. The lanes start to collapse, and it's the first time that they've held up ball and maintained it. Continued to knock the ball around the park, and it opened up other opportunities for Cordell Cato to get down into the byline, knock a good ball across. That's what they need to continue to do. When they can't capitalize going into the final third in transition, need to hold possession to give yourself a second and third look.
Foster off of Accra. Smith. Accra faces up. Accra around Lahoud. Leaves it off for a shot. Never quite dipped. That's Armin, from a Red Bull U23 player in the PDL. Guy that really stood out in the combine for both pros and college players that Mike Jeffries Independents put on.
Telling us he actually couldn't believe he was available after everything in the showings that he put forth, but it's a nice pickup for the Independents, and we talked about his ability to step in. And Alex Martinez isn't having exactly a highlight year like we saw last. You're on the Independents, you got to move the ball quicker than this. FC Cincinnati is not going to allow you the 2, 3, 4 touches to break them down. You can see the shape defensively sitting in 4-4-2 flat right now, and they interchange quite well. So Jimmy McLaughlin stepping in, Lahoud rotating over for him. So these balls have to be pinged much faster. One touch and go, one touch and go.
Cato couldn't find Watson. Now Accra stepping in. Foster, Armin, Foster. Cato. Cato! Went untouched on the way. Absolute blast. The native of Trinidad and Tobago.
Not bad stuff from the Independents. Foster gets away with one here, takes a little touch forward. Should have been further in front of Cato to allow him to run onto it. Cato makes the most of it. Gets a decent look at goal. Evan Newton has it covered the whole way. Better response from the Independents over the fast 7-8 minutes. See them slowly creeping back into this game and trying to find a way to break FC Cincinnati down. We talked about that, Mike, and what we thought would happen in this game, and you and I both agreed that this is the type of environment, although difficult to play in, probably one that brings out the best for the Charlotte Independents and their ability to kind of get things going, because they're a type of squad that their lackluster performances can be greeted by another teams when they'll almost play down to the level. FC Cincinnati stepping up, they want to rise to that challenge.
Let's not forget that Charlotte beat Cincinnati in Matthews, North Carolina, 4-1 earlier this year. It's
smoked.
Yeah.
Smoked them.
And both coaches intimated Charlotte played really well, Cincinnati played really poorly, and those days happen.
And we live in a very different world than we did back on May 12th, to say the least.
They gave this Cincinnati team another 2 months to gel together. Of course, they are top in the East. Charlotte plummeting down to 8th. It's made the playoffs the last couple of years. Accra into cleared space. Accra will turn on this. Cato. Here comes the run. It opens up a little room. Watson. Cato misguided a bit by Smith. Ledesma. Oh, that's brilliant from a tight quarter. Young crowd, old crowd, musically inclined crowd, savvy crowd.
I always wanted to play an instrument. I possess a lot of skill sets. That's just not one of them.
You played soccer really well. That is an instrument.
I'm a whiz on the recorder, let me tell you.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
I can play Yankee Doodle like the best of them.
I took so many piano lessons.
Really?
As many as I had to.
I would have pegged you for jazz flute.
36 minutes gone. Bone. Back from Ledesma. Smith able to push forward into the channel. There's the run. Ledesma. Ledesma off the outside of the net. You can tell how frustrated he is. He just did miss that. Left a wound in the sign to show for it. Wonderful ball. And it takes one bounce too many.
.38 minutes in, Manu Ledesma. We've seen him just moments ago getting to the byline in a one-on-one situation. Just now, winning a nice 50-50 ball in the middle of the park.
Did it again. Holmes seeks out McLaughlin. Look at the moves. There's Hoyt again.
And moments before that, Mike, down. Nice little triangle on the defensive side of things. I mean, the guy really can do it all. He's having some kind of year.
Herrera's been very quiet. But this is where they wanted to see him, between the midfield line and the defensive line. He may have had to drop a bit too far. It does help create. That did deflect. Favecra, it is a corner.
little frustration from Jan Eckert creeping into play, getting a look at goal, and I don't mind it. I don't mind to try and test Evan Newton. Again, it's been a clawing first half, opening 45 minutes for the Virginia native, but it's a pretty solid goalkeeper back there. You're going to have something special to beat him from that type of distance.
Short corner, Cato. Cleared. Second ball lobbed. Newton wants to work quickly. McLaughlin looking spry. Serves across. Duckett launches that toward the concourse. You're backing away in your seat going, that might find the net.
Trying to creep into contention for goal of the year. Wrong way, brother. I mean, we know what he can do from set piece situations, but all Duckin living a little dangerously there.
Kenny Walker, #1 goal on SportsCenter top 10. By lobbing a half volley from half field at the touchline against Ottawa earlier this year. A maestro. Walker over Lasso. That's a good effort. Lasso's still on this thing. Herrera puts it away. Coming up at halftime, we'll show you highlights and stats from the opening half. Devin will show you the mid-season awards that he came up with. The fans have done their voting on USLsoccer.com. And Loudoun United is the newest team in USL. We'll tell you about their move into the league. Of course, both D2 expansion and the launch of USL D3 coming next year. The tip of everybody's tongue right now. Toronto FC2 joining USL D3 next year. Been in USL these last couple of seasons. We've got 5 teams they expect to add another 10 or so to move forward over the coming months. Pocket of space, Ledesma. Bone, Welshman, McLaughlin. Trying to slide it through. I don't care if El Badawi's on the field or Koenig, they're both on the bench. This front four, when they get going for Cincinnati, is terrifying to opposing defenses. Lasso. Well, Duckett was there.
It goes back to the comment about the collective effort from all, but this is rough stuff from Bilal Duckett. You see him go to the ground almost immediately, laboring on the right side. It's Forrest Lasso coming out of the back. We talked about his ability to do that. Plays a nice ball in behind and just body gets stuck up underneath him as he goes to ground, caught up on the turf. Tiny stinger, and captain for the evening is going to have to exit for a moment or so. Referee can wave him back on, but we talked about the front four from FC Cincinnati, and again, we highlighted the 3 guys, Koenig, Ledesma, Abadawi, but again, you see 2 center backs tonight. They're the goal scorers so far in this evening, and Corbin Bones gotten in the action with McLaughlin, his ability. Emery Welshman, someone who you and I both thought would have had a larger impact earlier on in the season. Took him a while to find his footing, but has slowly crept his way back into the thought process for Alan Koch, which is dangerous for everybody else in the USL. And at this point in time, from an explosivity standpoint, they have to be the argument for one of the best squads going forward.
Nice couple of passes, but Lahoud breaks it up. Ledesma Oh my, he's found McLaughlin. Donnie Smith keeps that shot away by kicking it just in the nick of time. I mean, that's Ledesma in a nutshell, isn't it?
One little look, tiny little window, no problem. That's what we've seen from him all season long.
Welshman. Oh, he's found some room here. Dykstra gets down. A slow Corbin Bones roll. Up for Blake Smith. 2 by Cato. Ball Duckett there. He's returned. Watch out, Ledesma is coming. Unji. A little clearance. Nearing halftime. 2 goals in the opening 20 minutes for FC Cincinnati. Both off set pieces. Hasn't it been the summer of set pieces? And both by center backs. Watson. This finds its way into the middle. Deckel Kainan, arms outstretched. There's nothing there. Foster. This looks good for Charlotte. Watson. Didn't keep that in. 1 minute at a time in this first half. Cincinnati must be filled with glee from this opening 45 minutes.
I'm sure Mike Jeffries will be more than happy to step into the locker room and figure out exactly what they're going to do for the final 45. Definitely found their footing over the past 10-15 minutes, but the explosiveness is FC Cincinnati. Still ever clear going forward, and that's something he's going to have to talk about. On the defensive side of things, they've got to tighten up. There's too much space. Interchanging play of Manu and Jimmy McLaughlin. You can see him constantly switching sides, just as they did now, is causing a lot of issues for the Independents.
I think Manu Ledesma tests the extent to which the best player on the field can be difficult to keep track of.
I tell you, when I was 15 playing for a U19 squad, at that point in time, I hadn't made the full transition to the center back position. Sure enough, I'll tell you the rest later.
All right. FC Cincinnati, there's a reason 25,000 plus are on their feet.
Should be. Forrest Lasso getting stuck in. Kainan getting involved as well. The 2 big center backs showing what they're made of. And interestingly enough, that's the reason that FC Cincinnati is out 2-0. You would expect something else from the likes of Manu Ledesma or Emery Welshman. But you got to give credit to the back line of FC Cincinnati and their ability to keep Cordell Cato and Jorge Herrera at bay.
And for the goals they did score, let's not forget it's been 330 minutes in all competitions since they've conceded a goal. These 2 key to that. Nippert Stadium rocking tonight in the Queen City, and this Queen City's Cup is very much for the taking on the evening. It's the center back scoring the goals. The crowd ignited. We've got highlights, stats, and more coming up next at halftime. Well, that's a first half that fans walk into the stadium hoping for, dreaming for. Well, Cincinnati's got it. It's 2-0, halftime over Charlotte Independence, the USL Game of the Week. Both these teams rather new to the league, but there are 7 teams that are joining USL next year. Bruce Mandel, Jake Edwards, Justin Papadakis, all finding their way to announce Hartford Athletic as a new community. That's the chance to welcome professional soccer to their ranks. As the announcement was made last week, and now Devon, Loudoun United, they're going to have a new 5,000-seat stadium. They're going to be part of the DC United organization. They just announced earlier today they're going to join.
It brings the expansion number to 7. You see the others that are following suit right there. And the big picture for me, and what I'd like everybody to understand, is the economic value that it brings to a community and environment on a daily basis. It's really simple to take a look and go, great, another professional sports team. But it's really much more than that. Restaurants, maintenance crews, obviously stadiums and renovations, all of this stuff is going to jump into the forefront of people's minds and business plans right away. That is going to impact a community in its entirety from top to bottom. It's a great site for America, and it's continuing to progress.
And Nippert Stadium, a shining light for that. Downtown Cincinnati, gorgeous as ever. Paul Brown Stadium on the left, Great American Ballpark on the right. 2-0 Cincinnati. Devon's picks for midseason awards after this. Halftime at Nippert Stadium between FC Cincinnati and the Charlotte Independence, the USL Game of the Week on ESPN2. Alongside Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, let's take a look at who the fans chose. It's mid-season, so we've got some awards to show you. Carl Wazinski leading the way for Phoenix Rising into a top 4 position in the Western Conference, and not one, but 2 FC Cincinnati selections. Devin, these are good selections. They wouldn't quite be yours, though.
Well, you can definitely understand where the fans are coming from, and you can't really make an argument in any area to go another direction. But look, respectfully, I picked out some of my own awards. We're going to call them Devin's Decisions. And Manu Ledesma, look, I'm right on point with the fans. He's come out. He's done everything. Going forward, coming back, everything starts and ends with this guy. He shows you how to get it done each and every match. And the problem is you can't let off for 1 single second against him because he'll get you. Stepping up next, we got our Young Player of the Year, Efrain Alvarez. If you haven't seen him yet, he is doing wondrous things when Los Dos. And you got to figure out what exactly is in the Alvarez household, because his brother, Carlos, plays for Las Vegas Lights, and his younger brother is currently playing at the ICC Futures Tournament for the U14s, doing a great job as well. My man, Andre Rawls, stepping up, Goalkeeper of the Year. No disrespect to anybody else. There is a lot of solid goalkeepers this year in the USL. His defense has let him down a lot. He's stepped up every single time, risen to the occasion, and continued to push his team into the argument for one of the better teams in the Western Conference. Do I have to talk about this goal?
Yes.
A lot of arguments again. Teyu out of Fresno. We saw Ledesma step up and do something nice. Lancaster a few weeks ago from about midfield. But for me, this takes the cake. Through run of play, 100 miles an hour, ball back across, up in the air, contorting your body to finish in the upper 90. That is to top everything off. Let's get a little creative. Matt Pickens, the beard, the general. Look at him. How can you not? I mean, a shout out to Alessandro Ricci at Phoenix Rising. That's a nice one too, because it contrasts his hair. But can't argue with the general. Last but not least, Dolly and Dottie. You gave me the argument that this isn't necessarily a mascot that would go towards cash, but I'll tell you what. How can you say no to that face?
I can, and I'm going to give him a brown card for dissent. He's already gotten one of those this year, as Dolly, Dottie, and Cash leading the way for Lights FC. They played a great game against OKC last week in the USL Game of the Week. Well, we have plenty of action coming up for you. We'll give you a look back at first half highlights and stats when we return to Nippert Stadium after this. Queen City's Cup, Nippert Stadium, the site. FC Cincinnati off to a great start. First in the East, taking on number 8 in the East. It's 2-0 halftime. As we welcome you back into our booth, Devin Kerr alongside Mike Watts with you. And if FC Cincinnati wanted to draw this up, maybe they get a goal in the run of play. But this game's been even more so than the scoreline would tell you. Still, set pieces the difference.
And Charlotte started to figure things out, but unfortunately they built themselves a hole early on. And the biggest thing for me was you saw the look right away, and then they come back, they show you the same look, and they're able to capitalize on it again. But the overlapping runs from FC Cincinnati causing a lot of trouble. Charlotte starting to figure things out going forward, but they have to play quicker. And here's the early goal we talked about. It's a good teasing ball in. Forrest Lasso involved in both goals. On the first one, gets a nice touch to it, takes a deflection up the top of the bar, and it's just perseverance by Kanon and his ability to follow up the play to get his team out to the early lead. The second one, again, other side, eerily similar to what you're going to see on the first one. This time it's swung in. Kenny Walker puts a little bit more air under it this time, and it's just ingenuity by Forrest Lasso. Again, the big center back, dancing skills. That's going to be a Christmas present for you, buddy. But a good job from Forrest Lasso, doubling back, finding the back post, and getting out 2-0 in the opening 20 minutes. The response from the Independents, good, not great. Be curious to see what Mike Jeffries does in the second half here if there's any personnel changes.
Well, everybody's ready to go for this second half of play. It's the white for Charlotte Independents. It's the orange and blue for FC Cincinnati. Underway, half number 2. The Independents, Devin, scored in 12 games running, so this game far from over. To the far touchline. Cato. Bilal Duckett to Dykstra. This is Donnie Smith. Smith tried to sneak that inside the post. Newton will dive down, on frame or not. He's got a hold of that.
If you're the Independents, you'd love to come out early on and get something up on the scoreboard, make the decision-making process that much more difficult for Alan Koch and company.
Desma going back as he slipped through. Flag is up for offside. So Bilal Duckett goes to work out of Notre Dame. Push at the back. Freeman whistles for the foul. It's Kenny Walker. Cincinnati side that told us they've tried to block out the memory of their game late at Charlotte earlier this year. In large part, they haven't forgotten the result, 4-1 loss in the Queen City's Cup. In the offing. The second of 2 meetings between the two sides. Maybe the last they'll play in USL as they find a way to meet in the playoffs. Cincinnati will be pushing on to Major League Soccer in 2019. Years of a year where they've averaged over 25,000 attendance to this point, Nippert Stadium. Big Open Cup run last year, hoping to key their growth. So Desma involved in a collision. Charlotte carries away. Accra. Watson. Flusser slips it through. Cato coming still. Whistled away by Laoud. Freeman. in the passing acrobatics. Now off the back of Emery Welshman. An attack doomed from the start, it appears.
Good run by Cordell Cato just moments ago, and the tiny little shoulder shrug from Laoud right down the middle. It's one of those metrics that isn't going to show up on any game report. Able to show his presence once again, and haven't seen him over the ball a lot this evening, but he's done a good job finding other ways to help out his teammates.
Lasso sends it for Welshman cut out. Two-0 win for Cincinnati last time out. Franchise record 8-game unbeaten streak for beating the Rowdies. Ball redirected. And the team they'll play now 7 in a row, including their friendly against La Liga giant Espanyol at Nippert Stadium. Koch saying, long may it continue. The excitement of planes, trains, and automobiles have long passed. Stuck in challenge. That's Ekra that's down. A late whistle with Welshman, the guilty party.
John Freeman coming in real late in this situation. Play already continuing in the other direction. Emery Welshman working back on the defensive side of things, and I like the tackle. It's not a foul. Yeah, I feel like I should be involved in the selection of the referees. Then again, basically everything I look at it isn't a foul.
No.
Gotta respect the center back, show him some love, you know?
Yeah, but that's Emery Welshman. That's a forward.
He's playing like a center back.
He was.
On the other side of things, Forrest Lasso doing Emery Welshman's job.
Yeah.
See?
And Dekel Kanon.
Just to think.
All the way to Newton. Laoud. Long run. Cato did well to keep that not once, but twice at the touchline now. Smith backing in. Ekra. Laoud. Okay, Foster, who was with Mohamed Salah. Basel beat Chelsea twice. Group stage. Yuri was there. Smith. Kanon is there. Welshman gets there. Ledesma one-on-one, sizes up. Outsized.
An Argentinian trying to go for glory in the opening 8 minutes of this second half. And the thought process just went out in front of him. Tried to press a little bit too much. See the tempo softer here in the second half.
Watson turns down Foster once. Now he'll go to him. Foster.
tell you, this is going to bode quite well for the Independents, though. FC Cincinnati sitting back, allowing Charlotte to play, giving them the opportunity to push into the final third. They haven't really had a copious amount of opportunities here, opening 54 minutes or so, but have to wonder what sort of energy level FC Cincinnati still has. We've seen them go 80, 90 minutes easily. Constantly making sure the melody of their music they're producing for the evening is taken care of, but Charlotte Independents not shying away from the challenge so far.
That didn't quite go according to plan. Palungi. Flag was up against Cato. Hoyt, native of London, his dad born in Trinidad and Tobago, has played for them last year with an injury. Opening 5 games of the year, never quite got on track. A guy with as much name recognition as anybody on this roster, having played some of the best Arsenal teams. Steered ahead, McLaughlin. Lays it off. Out in front now. It's loose. Cleared away from the line. Donnie Smith in the last touch to that. With Bone and Welshman are in the area. Walker for Welshman. 2 players. And to take it for Charlotte. It's behind Herrera. For all that Cincinnati has sat back to open the second half, copious amounts of pressure. Charlotte's last spell of possession.
Quick giving the ball away, though. Comes back into the defensive third again. Step up, wins the ball, and just turn it right back over. Moments before that, Henry Kalungi, the center back, 3 times tonight we've seen him go to clear a ball and just knocks it right down the center of the park, giving FC Cincinnati another dangerous opportunity at the top of the box. That's a no-no for a defender. That's issued to you as a youngster, exactly where to not put the ball on a clearance.
Every coach's bugaboo.
Right?
This is great from Cincinnati. Is there something on the end of it? Welshman. Well, there is a corner. Welshman injuries along the way. Siena, Rookie of the Year, then Player of the Year, went on to Oregon State. Played with Guyana's national team. The first-round pick of Toronto. Key to this ensuing corner. Ball for Lasso. Is away. Smith. Smith!
If that goes in, 3 out of 4 from the back line, we're out of here.
Yep. Yep.
We're done. You have to be frustrated at the Independents. Although only one of the 3 horsemen is on the field tonight, been able to keep him quiet. Fortunately, Michael Kanon and Forrest Lasso had other ideas. Blake Smith trying to get on the action as well.
Bounces through. Welshman pops it up and out. Bone helped that along. The flag was up, offside either way. Snap down, Duckett will take over. Change waiting to come on. Away from Armin was the case of advantage by John Freeman.
Solid decision by our head referee, and you have to understand why Mike Jeffries is making this change. Eamon Zayed stepping in, coming on for the likes of Jan Ekra. Don't be surprised, you'll see Jorge Herrera drop down into the 10 spot. Eamon Zayed gonna run around, have some fun up top by himself. Nice big body, big frame. Seen him get in on the action in the air a few times. Mike Jeffries trying to employ an aerial option here, and right on cue, they've got a set piece to take advantage of it.
Ekra and Zayed both scored in the 4-1 boondoggle in Charlotte earlier this year. Foster, this bounces and knocked away. Newton. Nobody touched that. It looked like it was going to find 3 or 4 different players. And Newton just able to get over there, keep it away from the post.
This is fantastic from Evan Newton. The ball is swung in, no one gets a touch. He thinks it's coming to the near post, and his ability to change the other direction and his cat-like reflexes, get that outstretched arm and make a save, absolutely phenomenal.
Suing service. Cato. Smith. Armin. He's found Cato. Cato again. We'll get a third try. Better and better from Charlotte. Fosser. Are their numbers for Cincinnati the other way?
It's good stuff, Charlotte. Just keep it in front of you. Let them go left to right. It doesn't matter. It's not purposeful possession. Tell them where you want them to go and let them do the same to you.
Welshman, dynamic run, but it's gonna be Ledesma.
You saw him hesitant in his actions there. Almost teed it up a first and then a second time to come back around. When he finally puts his foot on it and has a crack, he's off balance, leans over, leans back. Not the best we've seen from Manu Ledesma, but interestingly enough, Mike Jeffries has actually switched sides. Seen Armin and Cordell Cato flip-flopping a little bit, trying to find a better matchup for the speedster in Cordell Cato. Jake Armin on the left side early on. Definitely had his hands full on the defensive side of things with Justin Hoyt coming out of the back. He's going to bring Cordell Cato over on the left and try and win that matchup. Give him the opportunity to not only solidify things on the defensive side of the ball, cannot give up a third, but going forward help out as well.
Welshman, Ledesma. This created off a poor touch for Charlotte to avoid another self-inflicted wound. On the far side, McLaughlin brings it down. McLaughlin! Honey Smith just took a bullet. So fly towards the general admission.
It's always difficult as a player coming in this situation because as it's floated across, you want to hit this first time. You're lining that up, but the smart decision to bring it down and give himself an opportunity on the second touch. Credit to Donnie Smith tracking back. You can see Kalunchi losing his footing. Donnie Smith sees it, slides over, and is able to push the threat away.
Charlotte's Achilles heel and swinging ball. Again, Dykstra really didn't do much to get to that. Cincinnati's not doing anything extraterrestrial here. They really are just putting numbers in there and making it difficult for Dykstra.
The thought process, much clever in the opening 45 minutes. You see the solidification of their back line on the defensive side of the ball and just kind of sit back. They haven't necessarily parked the bus, but the explosiveness we saw from them in the opening 45 minutes, not on full display here. They have no problem keeping Charlotte at bay and just limit the amount of opportunities for the visiting squad.
See the lasso armband on his right wrist, FFF, Faith Family Football. Talking about fashion earlier, they actually just started a clothing line with that. Go figure.
I don't remember getting a phone call about that, do you?
No. They're not asking for my input.
I thought I would have had a seat on the board or something.
This is Ledesma. Oh, wonderful. Welshman! A touch! And it's enough to keep it out from Dykstra. Aggressive off his line, keeping Cincinnati what could have been a knockout punch.
And it all starts from Ledesma in the middle of the field. And you can really see how clever he can be. His craft on full display, moving the ball around. It's a good ball in behind the back line who's been exposed. And solid decision-making from Andrew Dykstra to come off his line and make a great save.
All the stats are closer than it looks. It's these set pieces set Cincinnati apart. Walker, Jorge Herrera cedes another corner.
Some solid veteran leadership. Stands only 5'9", but not willing to let history repeat itself and go down by 3.
Herrera, basically the definition of soccer in Charlotte, both with the Eagles, now the PDL, and the Independents. Hundreds of games. Coaches in the city now, 10 and white. Big opportunity here for Cincinnati again. Walker puts it right at the goal line. It's punched down, and Dykstra got knocked toward his own net. Yeah, that's Ledesma in the book. Yellow card number 7 of the year.
Seems to always be that way, doesn't it? The step in front of the ball, the coy comment coming to the referee.
You can't do that.
Picking up lucky number 7 on the year. To be fair, his statistics just kind of follow suit. 9 goals, 8 assists, 7 yellow cards.
Yeah.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Right. Foster. And now Watson. Lasso is there. Foster knocks it over. And this is a long-range rip. It's up and over from Jake Arman, who really isn't scared to shoot from anywhere.
It's the 4th time we've seen the New Jersey native step up and have a crack from distance. Mike Jeffries telling us he likes to move him around, put him on the right, put him on the left. And this time tees this one up from about 30 yards out, trying to beat Evan Newton.
Blake Smith motoring. Kept in. Von Watson showing that veteran flair. Who hadn't played since June the 30th against Bethlehem, signed at the end of April, Watson.
Unfortunately for the Independents, that's a game they'd probably like to forget. We talked about the 4-1 drubbing that they gave FC Cincinnati earlier this year. Well, Bethlehem Steel with the Charlotte Independence. They handed them a taste of their own medicine, taking them down 4-1. It was just a day that Mike Jeffrey says that, you know, sometimes the magic isn't there. You just like to forget about it, not one you want to remember. Unfortunately for the Independents, that's becoming something regular as of late. Flat in the opening 15-20 minutes. FC Cincinnati jumping out in front, slowly making their way back in. But again, you get into the final third. A few glimpses here and there. For the most part, it's been those half efforts or so from Jake Arman or Cordell Cato trying to beat Evan Newton from distance. Not the worst thing in the world, but at the same point in time, you have to employ your craft in a different manner. FC Cincinnati's going to figure that out.
It's nearly 350 minutes now since Cincinnati's conceded a goal. Competitions. They went down in the Open Cup to Minnesota United. 0-0 draw after 120 penalties. Fortunate bounce. Keeps it for the Independents. It's Fosser. Fosser swerving around. Torreira. Laughlin steps in.
That's good stuff from FC Cincinnati. Something, again, we did not see last year. Declan Canon understands the ball coming in. Center back steps up and applies the pressure. But then Jimmy McLaughlin stepping back to help out. Does a good job winning the ball back, and then quickly they go the other direction, able to win a throw out of it. Again, 48 goals last year. They're going to beat that number this year, most likely. But it's on the defensive side of things and their ability to start from the back, working forward, that has been able to give them the #1 spot so far in the Eastern Conference.
4 points clear of Pittsburgh, the upstart of the East this year under Bob Lilly. Cincinnati trying to stretch that lead, knowing that this homestand is vital. Trying to finish first in the Eastern Conference as well as they've played on the road. All in fighting. Richmond come away. Desma pushes the pause button and gets overrun as Hyatt. Desma pointing for a throw. He did get it for Cincinnati.
Now's the time where Mike Jeffries needs to seriously consider going to the Pine once again and figuring out the other subs that he can bring in. Why not bring in the likes of Richie Perez to help in the middle of the park and control the tempo of this game? They showed earlier they were capable of doing so, but FCC has gotten grip on this once again, seeking a third.
McLaughlin nearly through. Ledesma! Ledesma! Just off the mark. And a crowd that was already up to celebrate record attendance really stayed on their feet much longer.
And most everybody in this stadium thought it went in, but Ledesma does a good job. Just rolls it across his body. Thought maybe he might employ his efforts on the right side of the ball, but elects to go with the left and pick out that upper corner. Just rings it off the support beam.
Smith. Long way to go. Charlotte's withstood most of this storm. Stretch ball caught by Newton. Smith. McLaughlin pointing forward. He was just a decoy. Hoyt. A little youthful exuberance. Somebody out for a corner.
Allen, you want it now? Allen, you want it now?
25,251. It's a new record for a midweek game in the United Soccer League. Of course, they're just besting their old one from June against Bethlehem. For all the jokes USL subreddit has to give about attendance this, attendance that, these crowds are enormous. These fans really have taken to this team in a way that few could have imagined. A guy like Jimmy McLaughlin embodies this organization's incredible insurgence in the Cincinnati market as Cicerone comes on.
Definitely a cult favorite for the Valiant. Like you touched on it, averaging over 25,000. It's actually the fourth highest in the United States or Canada, behind only Indiana United, Seattle Sounders, and Toronto. And that's saying something.
Corner on the way for Cincinnati. It's in! But it won't count. They're waving this off. While Cincinnati was looking for the spectacular, they'll fall short.
If you're Andrew Dykstra, you want to put this ball in play right away and get going the other direction.
It looked like there was a push on the goal line, but Cincinnati unlucky. Let's see if we can get a better look.
Yeah, it's a good ball swung in, and yeah, right there. Referee blowing the whistle. Kanon sticking his arm out. Tiny bit too far. Trying to push Javon Watson in the near post area. So Andrew Dykstra got a little touch on it and still ended up in the back of the net.
Game he'd like to put behind him, no? Cicerone driving in the defense. Ledesma couldn't dribble through. On Watson, dribbled away. How fast can Herrera get this forward and get one back? Armin, it's out for a corner.
And that's an opportunity missed. Yeah, you take a look, you have all the space in front of you. FC Cincinnati is spread out all over the pitch. 4 or 5 guys for them back, and you've got numbers. You've got 6 coming the other direction. Why not push that with a tiny more touch of pace and allow yourself an opportunity to have the advantage and set you slow down to give them a chance to track back? Now you get a corner out of it, but still a missed opportunity nonetheless.
Service back post kept alive. It's away toward George. Cato toward George. Duckett misfires. Also a push on Forrest Lasso. Negated that last Olympico. Diane Instad in the upper right. The Pride. 4 different supporters groups you can see there behind Evan Newton. Where are they? And for all the talk, again, about attendance records, U.S. Open Cup last year, seems an intent from FC Cincinnati to walk out of this league with a piece of trophy, one hand or both. What's more, Alan Koch really has found a way to make more of this team than their incredible parts. Ball played across, nothing there for Bone.
I like the idea. That ball's got to be floated, though. Just keep an eye on the backside here as to whether or not Emery Welshman walks his way back in, because he came up lame on the back end of that run, grabbing his hamstring.
Harmon trotting, serving. Sam Vines, he's waiting to come on. There's the 19-year-old, Colorado Rapids homegrown. Set to replace Bilal Duckett.
And of course, Duckett handing off the captaincy to Jorge Herrera. Try and see if he can rally his troops for the final 10 minutes or so. Sam Vines, an interesting one, primarily deployed in the left back position. I wouldn't be surprised if Donnie Smith slid inside to allow Sam Vines to get up and down into the channels on the left. At the same point in time, could just push a couple extra numbers, go with a three-back system. We haven't seen that from Jeffries in the past. I'd be shocked if he did that.
Cato, you think about that one sub left for Charlotte, wouldn't they love to have Caleb Calvert, Joel Johnson right now? Johnson, one of the best outside backs in the league. Calvert, key, out for the next 3 games. Parted for violent conduct last time out in that win against Nashville in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Nearly escaped the game unscathed. Instead, they're without their mitochondria engine in the middle.
To be fair to Charlotte Independence, you have to give them a little bit of credit on the defensive side of things, because their outside backs, though exposed, haven't allowed any goals. So that's a great thing. But you know, the center back stepping up from the set piece opportunities and getting those 2 early goals. They've been exposed for sure, but at the same point in time, we've got 9 minutes left in this game. You and I had the opportunity last week.
Yeah. the 10 goal.
I can't even say it.
Goal fest between OKC and Las Vegas.
I preached the entire time. I said Vegas still has plenty of time to creep back into this match. Charlotte Independence should follow suit. You've seen them break into the final third a few times.
And Devin, you said it over the lineups. Finally, this back 4, it's all starting quality, but still trying to find their way. Fitness, getting together again. Ball lobbed out by Newton. He and Kanan weren't entirely on the same page. And Harmon is down. They end up having to force, like Jeffrey's hand, that last sub.
Going toe-to-toe with Justin Hoyt. There's a friendly push at the end. Tentative as an effort's getting up, lands awkwardly on that shoulder. And just want to make sure he's okay before he gets back to the task at hand. Again, 7-8 minutes left. It's always frustrating as a player when it seems to be going right in your direction, just such a nasty challenge. Got to be tired. That man's got to feel good about his performance tonight.
Also one of the better goal-scoring defenders last year. He's been on the schneid for a little while now. Devin, you think about the Queen Cities Cup, and maybe they'll see each other again down the road. Certainly hope so. Right now it's on level terms. Cincinnati on the verge of taking the all-time series. 3 wins, 2 Charlotte wins, and a draw. in that cup now. It's in the house. But right now, Charlotte, despite the loss, still be in position to claim it. We were talking about this. Is it goal differential or away goals? I mean, when you get to the discipline points and eventually pulling of straws, casting of lots.
Casting of lots.
Is that what it is?
I'll be honest, I haven't made it that far down in the rule book.
Everyone on Twitter is rooting for chaos in this last World Cup in the group stage. Float too far for Ledesma. Look forward for Charlotte. They're at Louisville, the defending Cup champions. 3 straight games against top 4 teams. If they can find a way to come away with 4 or 6 points, I think they'll be cursing these 3 games at the end of the year. Cincinnati, they're on the verge of 9 straight without a loss. A lot of extra stuff there. It's Welshman who's in the middle of it all. High Vosser rolling the ground.
And the Cincinnati faithful getting involved. You see Michael Lahoud stepping in, Dekel Kanon having a word with John Freeman. It's not necessarily what you see on the playground every day. Emery Welshman getting tangled up with Jorge Herrera, exerting probably too much force at the end of the play.
He's just pulling out the ref edge and putting this to bed.
Again, there's a step from Kai Foster on the end of this. And that's unnecessary by Emery Welshman. He doesn't need to follow suit like that and push his arm through.
Well, I'm sure he would argue that the extra kick at the back end from Foster was a bit much.
It's also getting tangled up. I'm not necessarily sure the deliberance of what you saw there was exactly what came out of camp from Emery Welshman. John Freeman adding it up.
You carry the 1.
And 1, that's 2.
That is 2.
That's 2.
That's Foster. Oh no, he's not done yet. 3. Oh, well, no, he's bringing it back to Welshman. 2.
Jorge Herrera trying to figure out the arithmetic John Freeman used there, but both Alan Koch and Mike Jeffries going to their bench here, trying to find some magic for the Independents. Look at Matwai Mwape. He likes to run up and down rampant on the right side of the pitch. Well, I thought maybe after the last tangle they'd bring Jake Armin off, but bringing off Foster after that. 50-50 challenge just a second ago.
That's it for Mike Jeffries, substitution-wise. Nazmi Al-Badawi waiting to come on. And he scores just some of the sickest goals. What a phenomenal player he's been over the last couple of years. One of the hidden gems, second division. Alan Koch wants to get this free kick in before Badawi comes on.
Almost assuredly, he's going to let Manu get involved in this and then bring him off for a curtain call.
Doesn't have a goal here tonight. Doesn't really matter. He's been just enormous again for Cincinnati. Ledesma swinging it over the top. Now down by Corbin Bone. Welshman strides into this. That was touched. And Dykstra. Corner. I'm not sure Ledesma is going to get a second
He knows.
shot at this, no. I'll talk about like for like in terms of ball striking ability, these two.
It's got to be nice as a manager, closing minutes of a game up 2-0 to look over and give a nod to Nazma Al-Badawi. Nazmi's such a great player, and like you said, great ball striker. Similar to Manu, but brings a different aspect to the match as well. A good opportunity for him to continue that streak I referenced at the top of the broadcast, Mike. Again, Ledesma, Al-Badawi, and Koenig have made a mark on 16 out of 19 matches this year. None of them involved in the score sheet here tonight, but still plenty of time for that. By plenty of time, I mean 2 minutes or so.
And you mentioned the 3 times that they weren't on the score sheet. 2 of them were...
2 out of 3 were ties, scoreless draws, 0-0.
Al-Badawi, a former walk-on at NC State, 0 college offers, went to Wake Technical Community College, North Carolina FC last 4 years, 5 in blue and orange. Watch out for the second ball. In swinger. It's caught by Dykstra. He won't have the luxury. Nearing the conclusion tonight. USL storylines abound. Loudoun United joining the league just an hour before kickoff tonight outside Washington, D.C. Open a new stadium in Loudoun County. USL Division III. It's their 5th team. So they look forward to launching next year. FC Cincinnati, bell cow. What USL can be. Showing off on the biggest stage. The Welshman will size this up. And there's Cicerone. Cicerone is around Dykstra. Dykstra is recovered. Well, Badawi wants it. Badawi needs it. Play by Armin. On a Warriors job staying in this game. Bone. Badawi. Hoyt wants it. The Cincinnati team is willing to let this end on 2-0, so it seems. Bone. Al-Badawi. You get one here, Charlotte's not out of it. Insightful run, Armin. Armin's tried from here before. Put this one on frame, but Newton's got it.
Unfortunately for Jake Armin, he's tried from that range a few times tonight, but number 4 not able to find the back of the net, and you can really see the chemistry between the back line of FC Cincinnati, and even as Charlotte Independent start to push into the final third, trying to break them down. Very composed and collected. Really a solid unit that really does start from the top. You can see everybody working back to get involved.
Wape. For their 9th shutout this year. Already more than 2017. Their team record is 10. Cincinnati can smell it. Welshman. Badawi. Cicerone. If you're Cincinnati, it's more of the same. This is a team that's first in the Eastern Conference. They're in position to charge for the regular season championship. Only one of 3 teams in the league to average over 2 points a game, with the Real Monarchs from Salt Lake City, last year's regular season champion in Pittsburgh. This is just more of the same.
If you're Alan Koch, you have to be happy with the boys. and the collective effort they put forth, again, playing 7 of 8 games at home right now. They're going to finish playing 7 of 10 on the road.
Yeah.
So their inability to get it done last year has not come full circle this year. They have totally turned the table, and you could make the argument they're almost better on the road, which is a crazy thing to say. But coming down the stretch, it's going to be a great thing for them to have a little bit of a cushion in case they do stumble.
Well, this may end up being academic to the actual result. The foul by Walker, and Herrera surely will get his chance here. Find his 62nd goal. He's 6 away from Dane Kelly for most USL history. Hasn't really had a lot of chances tonight. In Mwape, a conversation. 9 goals. The league leaders, one off most in the league in boot race. It is Herrera. It deflects out. It's full time. Cincinnati wins it at home. Another 3 points, top of the Eastern Conference, showing their mettle as Alan Koch's men continue a tremendous run, now 9 games without a loss. For all the talk of FC Cincinnati's overwhelming offensive talent, it's 2 defenders that score the goals tonight. Dekel Kainan scores in the 7th, Forrest Lasso in the 20th. Their first goals of the year, both off set pieces. It finishes FC Cincinnati 2, Charlotte Independence 0. Coming into the night, Charlotte was 3 points away from falling as high as 3rd when it all came undone, 5th. And for Penn FC, just 2 points away. They watch Charlotte fail to pick up points on the road tonight, and it leaves an opening for them to make their step toward playoff contention next time out. Dominant stuff for FC Cincinnati as they end up picking up a 2-0 win. The summer of set pieces continues in front of over 25,000 in Nippert Stadium. Up next for FC Cincinnati, another home game against the Eastern Conference finalist. It's the USL Cup champion on the road next for Charlotte. For Devin Kerr, Mike Friedman, Jonathan All-Star Tellicher, Gage Tillotson, Charlie Yerke, our entire team. Mike Watt saying thanks for watching. Just another Cincinnati night. Finishes 2-0. Good night.